If you're new to this card system, this is the Sidetracked Home Executives home management system that I've used for going on 8 years. When my son was 1, I was working full-time and I just felt completely overwhelmed by everything. My mother-in-law recommended this system to me, the book, and it's been something that's been pretty consistent for that entire time, and it's helped me just create an environment of peace, and I'm a whole lot less stressed. So recently over the summer, I incorporated my planner into this card deck. So I no longer wanted to purchase a separate planner and be planning in a planner. And that was mainly like my goals and like one-off actions and things around health. I wanted to incorporate everything that I was putting into my planner into my card deck. So I still use a Google Calendar. I no longer use a Trello board, which I was using too. Everything is in here. The first part of the planner cards or my card deck is the home management system. The second part is the 12-week year. The 12-week year is a book that I read that inspired me to be able to create this, or to meld the two together, the planner and the card deck. I think putting your year into 12 weeks just feels better. The time goes by so fast. So I just finished my 12-week year. Well, tomorrow I do technically. I feel like I just started it. And I also feel like I just finally got the hang out of doing all of this. My goal was to become a better YouTuber, and I feel like I'm starting to grasp what I've learned over the last 12 weeks. So we have our home management system up in the front. Planner cards are hanging out in the back, and then they kind of meld together as you get started. Just like the home management system, there's action cards. In the home management system, there are obviously more home oriented. You have on the upper left the frequency, the right hand side you're going to note how long it will take you. You have a heading of the action, description, and then I include a cute graphic and highlight it in as the color that denotes the category as far as the frequency goes over here on the left. So we're going to take that same mindset that we have for the cards and apply it to the 12-week year. So whatever goal it is that you have, all of your action cards that are going to help move the needle to accomplishing that goal are going to be similar. You have your category up here on the left. While it might not be a daily, weekly, monthly, that type of category, I chose, for me personally, we're just going to talk about what I did for the last 12 weeks. My categories were learn, video, I have product, which is not completely related, but I can show you then how you incorporate aspects outside of your goal into the 12-week year planner. And then I have an affirmative statement when it comes to my goal that just reminds me, focus, Jen, this is what we're working on here. And then it says, today I am, and then it has the action name. This is in a similar setting with the home management cards. They're highlighted in pink. And then if you see, like that's the learn, it's kind of like an off nude, off white, I don't know what color that is, orangey color for the videos. Similar setup where it's an affirmative statement, and then you have the title, or I put the title of my video. I crossed this off because I had already done this video and I really didn't like it. I'm redoing it so that it, like I said, it's more personalized and I'm talking about my experience. So you have your action cards then that are just like the home management system. With the home management system, you have these daily date dividers. I sell these on my Etsy shop. They're $3 usually. I have a sale going on. I'll probably do it through the first week of January where it's 45% off. So it's a pretty good deal. This is the date dividers. You print them out, cut them out. And I think what sets this apart from just doing it yourself, and actually you can do this yourself too, but this has been a big game changer for me as far as staying consistent going into my card deck. Just to write the memory for the day has been really, really helpful. Now, if I were doing this card deck just for the planner cards, just for achieving a goal, I would put something along the lines of that had to relate to my lead versus lag score. And then I would also highlight the months that are in the particular 12-week year. I'm going to do 3 12-week years in my 2024. So I would highlight then January, February, March. I think I might be going into April a bit. I would highlight those one color and then the next one another color. And that can kind of show you what mindset you're in when you're in the 12-week year. So you have your daily date dividers then, and then you have, these are the planner cards. These are free. This is the action cards. You have your weekly dividers. There's 12 of them, and you're going to go ahead and put them at the end of each week. So you've got the dates, the weekly card at the end of the week. So that would be for me on a Saturday, which is the 9th. So my weekly divider is going to go behind the 9th, and that's just organizing the week ahead. Whenever I complete a planner card, or even if I skip it for the week or don't know if I'm going to do it the following week, it gets placed in front of the weekly divider. And that way at the very end of the week, I can review everything and fill out my scorecard. Behind the weekly divider, you have your monthly dividers, which are, let's try and get to December. Here's your December divider. All the cards, all the date dividers that are left leading up to December, so everything from today's date, the 8th, through the 31st, are all in front of the month of December. If I had weeks that were in January, say for maybe the week ended, how about the 20th? And that date divider is still in front of December, I'm going to go ahead and place all of the weekly dividers that haven't reached January yet, just hanging out in front of January. All the weekly dividers that are hanging out back here get placed in front of the weeks as they come up. I have each Wednesday a running appointment to just kind of look ahead in my calendar and see what's coming up. And so on that date, I just rearrange the cards as the date dividers come up to the month. I can then place them where I would like them to go. You can do it at any point, of course, but just know that if the week hasn't come up, it hangs out in front of the month. With that being said, I have these monthly cards that are also with the date dividers. Here's my December, for example. You can see my last day here is the 9th of December. This is week 12. I use these monthly cards to just make sure that I have a quick reference for finding out where the weeks are. If I skip something, which is really critical with this system, it's very forgiving. And then if you aren't able to get to an item, it makes it really easy for you to just pick up the card and move it to the date that you're most likely, that you know, I want to say that you know you'll get to it. With Sidetracked Home Executives, which this home management system is based off of, they give you, it's a 3-strike rule. The third time, you got to do it. You just got to do the action. For me, what I would do if it was just for the planner card and I didn't get to it, that happened quite often, honestly, with the videos, I would place it in front of the week divider. And then as I was going over my scorecard and analyzing how well that week went, I would skip it to the next week, or sometimes just recycle it or use it as scrap paper because it wasn't relevant anymore, or it was something that I just didn't want to do. So this card's really helpful. Over on the right hand side with the dot grid, what I've done here is just include all upcoming holidays that are important, especially in December. There's so many things to celebrate. And here, when you're able to look ahead and say, oh, this is probably not the best day to be doing some kind of big action or event when it comes to your goal. And that way you're not, again, grabbing your phone, because part of the system is that it's all very tactile. It's all very just right here. You can touch, pick it up, and it's something that's self-led. You're not getting a notification from your phone. So the more often you go into your phone throughout this process, the more likely you will be distracted. So staying in the card deck is really nice, and having this quick reference is super helpful. So you're going to go ahead and then highlight all those weeks. So if we look back at some of my previous months, you can see it highlighted. I think I saved some of them. Sometimes I get rid of my months. So here, oh, that's 2023. Oh yeah, okay. It's like, oh my gosh, my brain. All right, so here's November 2023. You see week 8, week 9, week 10, week 11 here. You know that they end on Saturday. So you're going to highlight each of the weeks, and that way you know. So if you're on a Monday start, it would be behind, the weekly divider would then be behind November 12th as week 8. So now using the action cards with the daily date dividers, I've already placed these. So for me, these were hanging out in front of week 12. I set these up on week 6, and they've been hanging out here for quite a while. And at some point, I think a couple weeks ago, I started placing the learning cards onto Fridays or Mondays. So here I have it at the very end of my cycle. I have it placed on the 8th. On the left-hand side, similar to the home management system cards, you have the category instead of the frequency. I'm going to use the categories within my challenge that makes sense, which was learn, video. I think I had one other one. I know I used products. So the learning was in pink, and then the videos were in this like off orangey color. It's an affirmative statement that is just making sure that I stay focused on my goal and what it is that I'm trying to achieve. Have, again, more of an affirmative way of placing or saying what it is that I'm going to be doing today. I am planning the next 3 months of content. And below this, I would include some notes or maybe a little mini checklist as I went. But I have 3 of these. These are on the dot grid. They are in the planner cards. These are all free, and you just print them out and cut them out. They're available in both a 3x5 and 4x6 format, and it lives inside my home management system. So I have everything here that I'm looking at. And plus, this is really helpful because if I have a cleaning day, I can see, like, today's a pretty packed day. I have a lot that I have going on. And so if I was smart, I'd probably move these to tomorrow. And again, no sweat if I do move these to tomorrow. I'm kind of excited to go over this, so I might do it later tonight. I'm not going to be punishing myself over this or upset. I'm just going to move the cards to tomorrow, and I wouldn't think about it for the rest of the day because all I see are the cards that I'm working on today. And even then, I take out one card and I focus on that one card at a time. So it's just sitting happy in my little planner deck, looking at what I've already done. I just want to give you an example of some of the monthly, and you can make your own each week's and each month, your spread, look however you'd like. So here's one of the big things that I'd like to change up in my next 12 weeks. For the November monthly tab, you can see here that I started putting my monthly review on the dividers, and it's been really nice. I did that in October too. I think I said that in the Plan With Me video. And I want to do the same thing for the 12-week year. So I'm doing a weekly review to see what works for my weekly accountability meeting. On my weekly dividers, you can see that I have a space for did I learn, did I track, did I compare, did I make videos, did I implement what I was learning? But I didn't actually write. Like, I just thought about it out loud, and sometimes I posted it to my YouTube channel. It would be really nice now that I'm done with my 12 week to just come back and look at the back of the tab and see what it was that I had thought, maybe making bullet points or making it easy to take in that information at the end of the 12 weeks. So that's the only thing that I would do different for that. Oh, one other thing that I would do different before I forget. I set this up, which is awesome. This is really nice. The first setup video that I did, I can't remember how many weeks I did, but I put together the action cards for the first few weeks, something like that. As I was learning, and this was very much specific to mine because it was about becoming a better YouTuber, and part of that was in the learning process. As I would learn more things, I would adjust my strategy. So for the last 6 weeks, I did the same thing. I got so excited. I was like, I'm just going to throw everything at this challenge and see what works out for the last 6 weeks. And so I put all of my action cards together, and then I divided them up into weeks, and then I filled out my scorecards. Well, the problem was a few weeks ago, my strategy changed again. I was starting to get feedback from people. I evolved and learned new things and was able to actually hear from people. So anyway, the idea of filling out the scorecard ahead of time felt good at the time, but I don't know if I would do that again. I might fill it out at the end of the week and then seeing all the cards that are in front of it. I don't know. I have to think about that, but that's just something to consider, especially if it's something that you're not completely sure as far as the strategy goes. If you're not working with a professional, if you're just playing around with ideas, it might be helpful. Because the last thing I want to see is a long checklist of things that I never even planned on doing for the week, which is super lame. Like, for example, the 12 week, I was going to do a video a day to try out. I have this long stack of cards, big stack of cards with all these video ideas, and they're completely irrelevant now after what I've learned over the last couple weeks. So filling out the scorecard is still really helpful. Let's just go back to the weekly scorecard and I'll show you what that looks like. So here's that planner piece. You have the months that are coming up for 2024. I have my blanks. I removed the contact cards, the meals, and storage and everything to just have a smaller stack. I've had a couple of people ask about the bag that I put my card deck in. Oh gosh, it's over there. It's just the black mesh bag. I don't sell them. They're on Amazon. And I like the zipper. It's worked fine for me. It comes in a pack of a number of different zipper pouches of different sizes, and I just use one of them, and it fits the cards nice because it kind of gives them a nice like squeeze and keeps them in place, and I can see it through the mesh, which is nice. Like I said, it's cheap. It's off Amazon. I'll include the link below. And that just makes it transportable. So I can be in my car and adjusting my strategy, reviewing things, doing things as I go. Part of Sidetracked Home Executives is talking about the idea of perfection, and that for most of us, it's not about that we're imperfect or that we're messy people. It's that you're too perfect. You're waiting for the perfect time, the perfect place where you can spend, lay out all the cards, that you can have like a brainstorming retreat. But it's about not waiting for that perfect time. You got to do things when you have the time, when you're presented with the opportunity to do it. When I'm in my car, there's so often that I would go onto Instagram and just scroll. And so now I can just pull up my card deck and just fill my time with reviewing what it is that I've done. I feel accomplished. I feel good. And I love looking to the future to see all of the potential plans that I have coming up. It's exciting. So having this be transportable, where it's not just sitting on your counter in a box, it's really helped me out. So looking at week 1, you can see my scorecard here. I have my goal up at the top. Write out a good goal. That's all I can say. I won't go over it anymore. Spend your time really thinking about it. And I have a passion planner resource that really works well that I use for this plan piece. Map out the time you have. That's also critical. I have a PDF download that I'll include too, that I've really been working on, because this has been an eye-opener for me as far as the reality of how I spend my time and the reality of how long these tasks take. I know I've talked about it in other videos. When it comes to things that I really want to do, that I'm super excited about, I always underestimate how long it's going to take me. I'll set aside a few hours, or I'll think, oh, I have time to do this, when really I don't. So the first week, I did really well. I actually did really well for the first few weeks, because it was a lot of just like, again, I was excited about it. And if you look at my first few videos in the challenge, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just kind of throwing things up online, and a lot of it was me discussing the fact that I didn't know what I was doing. So it's not like this one where I've already made the video and I'm being a little bit more critical about the level of quality. And again, like, oh gosh, I have so many lessons that I learned from this YouTube piece. It's just crazy. So I won't talk about it too much, because the video is not about YouTube. It's about setting good goals and using the 12-week planner. So I have, again, going back into it, sorry. This week I am. So again, I wrote it in an affirmative piece. I have my lead actions. So if you read the 12-week year, which I highly recommend you do, it's kind of dry and very corporate-y. It's so funny to think about Sidetracked Home Executives with the 12-week year, because they're written very in different voices, let's just say. You have your lead actions, which will lead you into the results of these lag pieces here over on the right-hand side. So all of the action cards then gets listed out. So this is very much an afterthought. It's not a to-do list that you're working from. You're working from your action cards. And at the end of the week, you're just seeing how it is that you did and whether or not you should adjust your strategy. You can know whether or not you need to adjust your strategy by looking at your lag results to see, hopefully you've picked some form of measurement. I use ChatGPT to figure out what the measurements that I should use. I also explained to it the level of how many subscribers I had, who my ideal audience would be that I thought at the time, and it gave me some numbers to think about. I don't know if I wrote the numbers down anywhere other than my affirmation card, which I think is also a critical piece of the planner card system. I have a daily affirmation card and a vision card, which I know is a little woo-woo and silly, but it's really not. Athletes use tools like this. I mean, it's just smart to put yourself in that type of a mindset. So I have one for my YouTube goal, and ChatGPT told me to do 3,000 subscribers and 10,000 watch hours for the year. And so I wrote that down without really thinking about it. I thought, oh, that's interesting. We'll just see how that goes. You can see the starting point here. I was just focusing on the growth. So I made it so that I could also be out and about on my phone and still be able to see these statistics. That's also important, making it easy for you to do the work, to reflect back. You don't have to be in one specific place. For example, one of the things that I've been thinking a lot about is how I'm going to measure my new goal, more of a fitness-based piece. I don't have your traditional measurement tools when it comes to like weight loss goals. I don't have a scale or anything like that. And so it would be unrealistic for me to make that a goal or a level for me to track, because it's not something that is highly accessible that I will make sure that I'm able to fill out and reflect upon each week. So I have all my starting levels, I have the ending, and then below are those weekly reflection questions. Part of 12-week year is doing a weekly accountability meeting. Now you can do it with people, but he makes a point of stressing that it's more of staying accountable to yourself. This is a very self-led, very self-starter type of a system. Part of the reason why it is so effective is because, especially when it comes into the 12-week year and you have the scorecard, the whole thing feels like a little bit of a game where you're able to skip things. Their cards, they're just like, it's just a little quirky. You can see that this the lead versus lag piece, and you can hopefully get creative. My first 12-week round didn't look like this, but this setup made sense for my next 12 weeks. And plus, it made sense just based off of how I had used the previous 12 weeks when it came to tracking. Simple really is most effective for me. So just looking back at some of my week 1 action cards, you can see again, these were learning. It's in the pink. This is that off pink color. I know they're very similar. I probably would have changed that. Where it's highlighted in the category color, and I have some notes in here. And the nice thing about these cards is they're just like flashcards, right? Learning cards. So if there's anything that it is that I want to keep that I think is beneficial, I can either transfer it to a new card to make it make sense and always have it in my card deck under the learning divider, or I can create a YouTube divider, or I can create a whole new card and combine everything. So there's a lot of flexibility there. Here's my week 2 to give you an idea of what that looked like. These are all pretty neat. Do you like my little sketch? How just different, even some of the resources that I was pulling from, how it's changed over the 12 weeks. Because like one of these people, I found new people to learn from since then. So again, I did really well, the 7 out of 7. But when you see from week to week, even though the scores aren't doing well, this is where I think scorecards are helpful. I could then look back and say, okay, well that didn't bring me a whole lot of subs. It didn't change, or it went from 275 to 286. My watch hours didn't change that much either. And my click-through rate actually went down that week. Even though I was accomplishing a lot, was it really helping me become a better YouTuber? And so each week having that scorecard was just an aha. Okay, let's figure out how we can change this. And I have videos that break down a lot of my plan with me videos, and there's some that are poorly titled and poor thumbnails, so I'll have to adjust later on in the month. They mention little things. I also have on my community tab some of my weekly accountability meetings written out that goes over what worked well, what didn't, and how I moved on from there. This is going to take me a while to figure out my next 12 weeks. And I made it so I could have a break in between and also have time to really think and plan. So I'm not going to be starting until the middle of January. And so my planning is going to start with that Passion Planner mind map, which was transferred over here onto picking out my game changer, which was be a better YouTuber. It then went into, I'll talk about this in just a second. So I finished with the mind map. The one piece that I didn't really look at was how it was that I was going to incorporate all these new fun action cards into my daily schedule. I was just like, I'm going to do it. So that's one thing that I'm going to spend more time on, and plus researching too, doing a lot of research up front. When I was doing the 12-week year on YouTube, I've been on YouTube for over a decade in different capacities. I've been an editor, I've been a producer of live streams, so I have kind of a nice foundation as far as that goes. My previous 12 weeks was on Etsy, and I have no idea how to do Etsy. Did I do much better than I was doing previously? And yeah, I added new products, I gained new customers, I improved the quality of the products, but I definitely didn't reach my goal because I really had no idea what I was doing. So spending time researching the goal, looking at if it's realistic, making sure that it's something that is attainable for you within the 12 weeks is also really important. Even looking at my YouTube goal, 3,000 subscribers felt like a huge jump to me, but I know from the past on other channels I've worked with that doing a big jump like that could be just one good video. So I wasn't as nervous about that. I'm going to get to this Passion Planner Game Changer in just a second, but let's just finish this really fast to see if there's anything else that I wanted to point out. So I have all my action cards that I've already completed living over here. This was the week that I went on vacation. I was able to get the checklist or my things that I need to get done each week because I wanted to get 24 videos at the end of this, so I needed to at least put 2 videos out. And I was keeping in line with my previous scorecards, right? Doing a good job, making sure things were getting done. But again, was it actually creating any kind of traction? That's debatable. Now here comes the point where this system breaks down, and I've learned a lesson. I've said it in previous videos, but I do my best work when I'm ultra focused on one thing. So NaNoWriMo for me, and I was a little nervous going into it, I was stuck in a research phase for the longest time. And then I started doing my 4x6 versions of the cards, and that took me a long time. So I ended up filling all of my time for writing in the early morning up with my 4x6 designing time. And so I did research for Nano for like 2 weeks. And that was because I changed my plot. And then I went into the 4x6. So doing Nano did not work out for me. So I was trying out 2 goals, and I did not care for it. So writing is definitely still a passion that I want to continue, but I have to figure out I think being more realistic with my time going into my next 12-week round is going to be smart. That's just something to keep in mind, how many things you're going to be focusing on. So here are some things that I didn't get to before I pass this up. The algorithm and SEO best practices, and also feedback loop. I didn't get to those 2 things, and based off of some of the research and some of the other actions I had done, I did not push those into another day. So you can see here the feedback loop didn't get crossed off. Also, there was quite a few things that just didn't get crossed off this week. Also didn't write my score. So it's 1, 2, 3. Only 3 out of 12. So this week was really, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. This week I made a video about failing too. This was a hard week for me because I was just trying to do things without really thinking about how it was moving the needle. And I started to get frustrated. Isn't that so cliche, getting frustrated like at the midway point? Yuck. Maybe expect that. I'm telling myself, plan for an adjustment period, maybe around here. Oh, here's my October calendar. So you have week 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 here. I'll hang this out back in October so I don't lose it. Here is one of the actions I was taking for NaNoWriMo too. There's an action card for that. Here you can see an example of an item that wasn't related to the 12-week year goal, which was to become a better YouTuber. It was more of the bigger vision for what it was that I was doing. I'm making the YouTube videos to better explain utilizing the products that I've created and I've used for myself. And so I have the product piece in a highlighted yellow, I have the action, and then I have some messy notes below. And that just got filed in front of week 10, so I know that I was working on other projects at the time. My other ones that were 4x6 are actually filed in front of Saturday right now, and so it's more of a checklist. And I probably should have broken that down into each individual card, and that way I could have seen when I worked on each of those cards and how that affected my productivity as far as the YouTube goals go. Gosh, feedback is so important. Hearing from all of you has been so influential. Hearing what it is, what questions you have, what you think has worked well, what you are interested in outside of my channel, what you really love to watch on YouTube has been amazing. And I've had the best time looking at all the different people that are on the platform. So let's just, before I wrap this up, because I know this video is getting really long, the planner tabs or the planner divider, this is where the game changer went. So I have my big game changer here. And when you're looking at the Passion Planner system for creating a roadmap for your life, you're creating a vision. You're doing 3 months, 1 year, 3 years, lifetime. And then from there, you're breaking down these different goals that will help you achieve that vision. And you're picking the one that is, maybe if it's like a Dave Ramsey approach, it's the snowball approach, right? What's the easiest, most likely that you will achieve it goal? Do that one first. For me, I picked the YouTuber because I really, really believe in these products. I really love my date dividers. It's something that brings me a lot of joy and has been really effective in my life, and I feel like it's going to help others. And I love YouTube, and so having this subject to speak on has been a great way for me to be able to edit videos and play with that, and also speak with other people that have similar interests or maybe similar mindset as myself. So I picked becoming a better YouTuber, and from there I have these different categories. Here's my second goal for NaNoWriMo, which did not go well. So, I mean, you can also take that as a takeaway when I'm talking about this 12-week system and whether or not it's going to be effective. I don't know. I found it really effective the last few times, and I learned something about myself when it comes to NaNoWriMo and what I didn't get done. And the 12-week year does say you can do up to 3 goals, or like recommends at least stopping at 3. Just focusing on this piece. You've got, I did a weekly focus. And then, let's see, what were some other things? Daily work, focus on doing 2 videos each week. That number is totally out of thin air. I didn't know if that was what was actually going to make me be able to reach my goal, but that's what I went with. I also didn't even know if I had the time available to do those 2 videos each week. I have a piece here that is ideas for how to measure this goal. So you're kind of just mapping things out. From here, you take out your action cards and you take whatever action that's most relevant and create the card. So a lot of this was, these single video cards that came with ideas that weren't necessarily here on this action, but the bigger category for a video was. So I could create 2 video cards for each week, so 24 of these guys, and then hide them behind or in front of each weekly divider. And when it came up to it, I could assign the title. That's probably the smarter way to go. The idea is having these action cards done ahead of time, choosing however long I guess it is that you want to do. So you're not sitting down each week and trying to start from scratch and figure out what it is that you're doing. It's not a blank weekly spread anymore. It's a bunch of cards that you've arranged. You know that this is the end goal. These are the steps that you need to take in order to get there. You set them all out, and then you find out when it is that you have time, or what's the most likely time that you'll get it done, the order in which that you feel like will give you the best results. I don't know. I think this is a really fun idea to play around with. And if you do try it, you should let me know how it goes. Like I said, in the next year, in 2024, I'm going to do a fitness goal. Even, I think I mentioned, with doing my research around fitness and going back, why is it that I want to focus on fitness? Is it for weight loss? And yes, it's for weight loss. But why do I want to lose weight? Because I want to be able to move around the boat more easily. I want to have more energy. I want to be able to do more stuff. And I want to be able to age well. And so then I was like, well, then maybe it's more of longevity. So if I'm doing any type of fitness activities, I don't want it necessarily to be hardcore, because I thought, well, maybe I should do like a Marvel superhero type training and make it really fun and push myself for 12 weeks. But that doesn't fit into my bigger vision for why it is that I want to do fitness. That's all I'm going to say. I'll make more videos for the 2024 stuff, but I know this is a long-winded help on setup. So if you want a shorter video that shows you how I set up my initial 12-week year video, I'll link that with this, and it's much more straightforward. All right. Thanks, guys.